Hello and welcome to another episode of the James Granström podcast, Super Soul Model Series. Today's show is Why Are You More Than Enough? Guys, the reason why you're more than enough is because you've been born. It is your birthright. You're a divine being in human form. That is why you're more than enough. However, have you picked up programs, ideas, thoughts and beliefs over time that have conditioned you to think otherwise, that you're not enough? Now, life is kind of set up in a way for you to realize who you're not to find out who you really are. And when you're a child, you have your wonderful parents and your parents care for you, but they have taken on programs from their parents and their environment. And this just gets passed down generation to generation. Now, when you're a child, you believe your parents, and if you don't do something from someone that you love, then you can kind of pick up in your young mind, which is very open to suggestion, which is where you're starting to develop your thoughts, behaviors and beliefs from that age up to about 8. That's where you start to really sponge all the information and take everything from your folks, from your parents. And if you're not living up to their ideals, you may take on a program which is I'm not good enough. And if you are failing at school and you're not living up to maybe your parents' ideals or the people that you care about or your peers' ideas or your teachers' ideals, you may just suddenly give yourself that suggestion that maybe I'm not good enough or maybe you're not good enough. Now, I know that because that's what I did. And then I remember when I started to become aware, when I began meditating and became aware of the thoughts I was thinking, I became aware of what was happening to me. Then I realized, I was like, hey, I can change this. But I didn't know how at the beginning, but that's what I want to share with you today. I want to share with you ways in which you can realize that you are good enough if you've forgotten. Because deep down inside, you know you are, but you may have a program running that's different. And that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about this is what Randy Gage would call a mind virus. Marissa Peer, who's recently come out, who's a hypnotherapist. I learned this from Louise Hay, the beloved founder of Hay House. And also I learned this from Noah St. John. There's a particular method that I want to share with you in this video today and in this podcast. But the key thing is that thoughts that you keep thinking become your beliefs. So if you want to find a new thought, if you want to create a new belief, you've got to start thinking new thoughts. And new thoughts take time to build before they turn into a neural net. Imagine each thought you think is like a little tiny spider web. And each time you think it becomes stronger and stronger and stronger. And eventually it becomes like a wire. And then eventually it becomes like a rope. This is exactly what's happening in your brain as you're thinking new feeling thoughts. Your thoughts that fire together, wire together. So what we want to do is start creating new thoughts, understand the subconscious mind, which is also known as the inner child, which is where all the programs are picked up from as a young version of yourself. And we want to start to be able to move these thoughts that aren't serving you to thoughts that are serving you so that you get to have new experience. Because your mind is impartial and it doesn't care. You just have to feed it the right things for it to just keep improving, so your life keeps improving. You just often need to update the software of your mind if you find yourself falling short of what it is that you want. Have you ever noticed someone getting something and you're not getting it, and you're understanding, well, how are they able to do it? It's because of their thoughts and their belief system. That's the difference. The people that make it are the people that believe that they can. And that is the difference. And if you don't believe you can, you may have a program running saying, I'm not good enough, or I'm not worthy enough, or I don't deserve it. When in actual fact, you absolutely do. But you just need to tap into the mind, use its impartiality, start to feed it the right things, which we're going to talk about today on the podcast. And then you're going to start getting little results. And those little results, well, like I said, will be firing off new networks in the brain, which means your belief system will become stronger and stronger. Now, it takes time, but if you stick with it, it will show you, because the mind is impartial. It doesn't care. It just wants to give you evidence of what you're thinking. because that's how life is set up. Now, before I had a sort of spiritual awakening and understanding with all this kind of material, and it was only when I started asking questions that I came out of this victimhood and came into this level of self-empowerment and self-discovery. And if you're on this podcast, then you're opening your mind to these possibilities as well. And that is the most important thing. Asking more and more questions allows you to step outside of your current reality and move to a new improved reality, because reality is plastic. It can change, but it will only change based on the thoughts and feelings that you're emitting on a day-to-day basis. But most people think and feel regularly, so they keep getting what they're thinking and feeling over and over again. And that's described in The Secret. And Jack Canfield says it's best. If you don't know who Jack Canfield is, go check out his book, The Success Principles. Jack is a magical man, and he really talks about this in true depth. But today what I really want to talk about in this podcast is understanding why you are good enough. And just so that you are clear, we need to talk about the opposite as well, because if we don't understand the opposite, then you can't understand the journey of what it takes. The media has programmed you with conditioning of you're not good enough. And the reason why it does that is because then it can sell you more goods and products and services. Because if you're not good enough, then if you buy this, then you will have more and you'll feel better. And that's what most of the world is operating at. And it sounds like idiotic, but that's just the way the system's set up. Because if you're suppressed and you're not able to know that you're not good enough, then if you buy this, then you'll get this and it'll make you feel better. Now, that might happen for a little bit, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to satisfy you in the long run. Now, I picked up this book recently, and I love this book. It's called A Deep Breath of Life by Alan Cohen. Actually, I pick up this book every single day. I've had it for almost 8 years now. And one of the titles is called Enough is Better. Now, I want to read you the quote at the top of this book because it just really puts into perspective what's important. It says, "He who is a happy man is content with his lot." Now, I love that, because if you are happy with what you have, then you will have more. But if you are not happy with what you have, then you need to change the way you feel, change the way you think, then you will have more. But if you are a victim, which saying, I'm not happy with what I've got, this is just the way it is, and there's nothing I can do about it, that's a victim mentality. And people try to buy more or get more from this perspective, but it is never fulfilling. It's trying to fill a void. But when you are content with what you have, you will have more. So, very interesting little topic. And obviously the answer to that is, the more grateful you are, the more you'll realise that you're more than enough. Now, as a child, you may have tried to please your parents. Most people do, because they believe that if I get the approval of the parent that I love, then they will love me more. And you want to feel loved because that is the essence of who you are. And as a child, you're learning that to love and be loved is what the human condition is all about. But if you're trying to get the approval of someone that you love, that can be sometimes really, really hard, because everybody is not always in that loving mood. They may be frustrated, they may be having their own things going on at that time. And as a child, you may be trying to win your parent or your mother or your father's love over your siblings because you want the attention. But in doing so, you may have realised a bit skew-whiffly that if I please my parent, then they will love me more. And if that means I get better grades, they will love me more. And if I fail, they'll love me less. So can you see how this little program starts to unfold? This little program says is that if I don't get the grades that my parents want me to get, then I'm not enough. So I deem myself not enough. And if I fail that test, I'm not enough. And maybe you can take it from another level, which is my family don't have much money, so we're not good enough. So you run these programs, so you may be thinking about, I need to find other ways to make money, but it's never going to be good enough because we're not that type of people. So the mind is like a virus, and that young mind of yours is open and suggestive to whatever you think. But what if we sort of turn it around? What if we were to tell ourselves, well, what if I could do that? What if that were possible? Is there anybody else like me doing this who's in a similar position? This starts to open the mind. And what we do is we move from pain to possibility. The pain is the feeling of like, I don't have the circumstances that I want. And then you can move to the possibility, but what if I could? What if it's possible? What other people have done it? And then that starts to breed this possibility, and you start to fire new wires in the brain that gives you that possibility, that gives you that hope. Everything on this podcast is designed and wired to help give you hope so you can move in that direction, move in the direction of possibility, and enlighten you and give you some new ideas to think, hey, if this is what's going on, what if I could do this? Because this is when life really takes on a new level of excitement. It becomes magical, and that's what I want to help you tap into. You are more than enough, but you might have a program saying that you're not enough. When I was a kid, I used to have a program like, I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy enough, etc., etc. And these were negative patterns that played out into my young adult life. And then when I realized and I started asking better questions, I began to meditate, began to be aware of my thoughts, chose to be someone who was empowered rather than a victim. That's when things began to morph for me. And that's what I want to share with you. Some of the techniques that I've used that you can use too, that other people have written about in books, but you can hear on this podcast that can allow you to change things starting today. Is it going to happen immediately today? No, but it will begin when you begin to practice, because that's what life's all about. We learn best through repetition. We learn best by making sure that our mind is filled with possibility, because when our mind is filled with possibility, we're going to be headed in that direction. And when our mind is filled with hope, we're going to head in that direction. And on the other note, we can go there too. We can go towards frustration. We can go towards despair. We can go towards depression. If you don't like things the way that they are, you can do something about it, but it has to start first with your thinking. Now, in order to change these beliefs, these negative beliefs that you have, which is you may not be feeling good enough, or you're not able to get the love you want, or get the money that you want, get the career that you want, get the body that you want. All of these things are just made up in your mind. Your mind has somehow taken on these programs, and we need to change them. And we can interrupt these patterns and begin to change them through things like affirmations, prayer, meditation, hypnosis. And one of my favorite ones, which I've mentioned already, that I find is the quickest, most effective way to change my subconscious mind and allow my mind to really work for me, is by asking better questions and by asking affirmations, which is by Noah St. John. This really does work, because what it does is it bypasses all of those belief systems and allows you to think differently straight away, because our brain is very much like a computer. Ask a bad question, get a bad answer. So if you're asking better questions, you're going to get better answers. Now, I've had Noah on the show, and I love his work, and I'm an advocate for his work because it's worked for me. You've got to find out what works for you. I highly recommend affirmations. You could be looking in the mirror saying, I'm enough, every morning when you wake up, or everywhere. When you look in the mirror, can you look into your eyes and go, I'm more than enough, I'm good enough? Can you say that in a conversation? Yeah, I'm good enough, I could do that, I'm enough. If you don't think that you're enough, you're always going to be living out that experience. And if you do think you're enough, you are always going to be living out that experience. But if you're in that I'm not good enough zone, or I'm not worthy enough, or I don't deserve it enough zone, in order to get from there to here, from A to B, which is the B meaning I am good enough, I deserve the best, what you need to do is ask a better question, which is, why am I good enough? Why am I enough? Why am I worthy and deserving of great things? Why do I deserve the best? Why am I enough? Why is everything I do good enough? And if you come from that position, what's going to happen is, when you ask that question, you're going to live out that experience, because you've tapped it into your mind, you've tapped in the question, and your mind will find the filters, will find the experiences, so that you can go out into your day and have that experience. Now, it does take a little bit of time for you to be able to condition your mind again to this new way of thinking, because you may not have ever thought that. And it's only when you think new feeling thoughts and ask better feeling questions that you're going to feel differently, and life's going to respond to you differently, because life responds to you based on the way that you think and feel. And if you're thinking and feeling positively hopeful and feeling a sense of optimism and possibility, then that's the energy that you're sending out into the world. And if you can see energy, your energy will be huge. And if you are feeling depressed and feeling victimhood, despair, frustrated, anything lower than hopeful, what that means is your energy is shrinking. So we want to take it from pain, which is the shrunken version, and turn it to possibility, where we expand your energy. When you realize that your mind is controlling your body and controlling your life, and who's doing the thinking, you need to be in charge of the thinker. And then after the thinking, we can go beyond the mind, but that is for another podcast altogether. But first things first, you want to start installing some really good new belief systems, some really good new thinking that turn into beliefs. Because remember, a thought you just keep thinking turns into a belief. So what if you start accepting better thoughts, such as, what if I am awesome? What if I am really good? Why is everything working out for me? Why am I good enough? Why do I deserve the best things in life? I mean, what a lovely way. I mean, doesn't that already make you feel better? That's the whole point. Those good feeling questions will change your mind, will change your state. And when you change your state, as Tony Robbins was saying, that is when your energy shifts and you start operating at higher new software. You always want to keep upgrading it, because otherwise you become obsolete. And we all want to get that new software update. But in order to do that, we need to hook up onto our internet, which is connection with the divine, connection with infinite intelligence, connection with our natural high. Tap in, ask ourselves better questions, demand that we settle for the best rather than just for okay. Because if you want to just settle for okay, then that's what life's going to bring you. But if you want to settle for the best, then that's what you're going to get. But in order to settle for the best is, why do I accept the best? Why do I accept the best for myself? Why am I good enough wherever I go? Why do I always have enough? When I started reminding myself, why do I always have enough? I noticed that in my life, I always had enough. And I remember for years and years and years, I'd be walking around like, I don't have enough this, I don't have enough that, I don't have enough. And it was just a loop that went on, which was insanity, but I didn't know how to get out of it. But that's when I started saying, I have enough, I'm more than enough, I'm good enough. And that's when opportunity met me. That's when new ideas met me. That's when I started up running this podcast and then realizing, hey, I can make a difference here. I can make a positive impact here because I've got something to say. The old version of me would be like, no, I've got to keep safe. I don't want to share. I don't want to expose myself. It's like, get over that. Get to the point where you're like, why am I good enough? Why do I accept the best? Why can I offer and add great value wherever I go? And this will begin to shift you from where you may be currently sitting to where you want to go. And this is a huge game changer, because you are good enough, but you may have been conditioned to think otherwise and not even realize it can happen. Why do people make those lucky breaks? They make those lucky breaks because, number one, they're feeling very positive. Their energy is strong and high. Remember what I said, that when you're feeling like possibility, you're feeling expansive, your energy is out there. And when you're feeling victim, small, frustrated, cut off, your energy is tiny. And you want to get your energy as large as possible, because that's where you meet good fortune. And the difference is that the people who think they can. And you need to be asking better questions, because then that allows you to move from pain to possibility. And possibility is where you want to live. When you live it in possibility, anything can come to you, because your energy is so magnetic and so huge. You become a walking good fortune magnet. And people will want to unwrap your magnet and be near you because of your ability to have such a huge, beautiful, infectious energy. And that is what we want to share. And that's what we want to create in the world. Remember, this is a gift that you having these thoughts are a gift to other people, because they pick up on it very subtly. Just electricity is available. Just because you can't see it doesn't mean it's not there. When you walk into a room, you pick up these vibes. That's thought vibes. That, you know, you can't see them, but they're there. When you're feeling love and appreciation, people warm to that. And when people are laughing, don't you laugh when you hear people laughing, because you know that that is your natural vibe. That high natural vibe is what you are naturally gravitating towards. And it's not those low vibes that you're gravitating towards. You want to gravitate towards the high vibes. But people have just accepted that below the okay line is just satisfying enough for me to live life, to get by. But that is not the place to live. You want to live higher. You want to live higher. You want to feel better. You want to increase your energy and give yourself enough opportunity so you can meet with possibility, you can meet with good fortune. But that takes first better thinking. And as you change your thinking, good stuff begins to happen. Now, you want to watch out for like movies, things like Jerry Maguire, You Complete Me. What a terrible statement in a movie to be able to say, by the way, I'm not whole, and you coming into my life makes me whole. So, you know, I'm going to put all my attention into you, so you give me the approval I need to make me whole again. That's dysfunctional, guys. You know, that people think that's romance. That is not romance. That's dependency. That's like saying, I'm going to give you all my energy and I'm going to keep none for myself, because actually I can't validate myself and give myself the love that I need because I need you to give it to me. That's putting all your eggs in someone else's basket rather than your own. Self-love is where this is at, and that comes initially from your thinking, realizing that you're good enough and realizing that you're whole. Another thing is that in capitalist society, often what you find is on media, TV adverts is drink happiness, or like Coca-Cola. What they're trying to do is get you to think that if you buy this product, you will be happy, but you can be happy without having that Coca-Cola. You can be happy just by turning your face up to the sun and taking a couple of minutes and allow yourself to bask in it, or feeling gratitude for, you know, your little kids, or feeling gratitude for your wife or husband, or feeling gratitude for your health, whatever it is, or feeling gratitude for your job or your work or the income that you receive. That can fill you up. That can bring you happiness. These things are free. But what if you could come to this perspective that you become aware of that, and then when you do go shopping, you're like, do you know what? I feel really good, but I would like a Coke. Then that's something else for you to think about. But for me, you know, why do I make healthy choices? So when I go to a shop, I usually want, you know, to get a nice water, or I want to get a nice, you know, juice or a smoothie, or, you know, something that's unpasteurized and, you know, is great for my body. So I'm thinking differently already, because I've installed in my mind's software that, why do I choose healthy, good feeling foods and drinks? Simple. But I've done that over and over again, and I've been doing this for years, and that is my experience. And as a blessing, my body is in great shape, my health is in great shape, and, you know, that's what life's all about. So remember, the better questions that you're asking yourself, the more your mind will direct you to where you want to go. So be aware of the films that you watch. Be aware of the programs that some films may be saying, so that if you notice that they're trying to make you feel less than good, because, you know, a good film to watch is something that's empowering, inspiring, uplifting. Maybe it's someone who's turned something around. We love that. We love that because we know innate within our human psyche that we are good enough, that we are capable of incredible things. You, my friend, are capable of incredible things. Now it's up to you to choose thoughts wisely. Choose your thoughts so that they empower you. Choose your thoughts so that they make you move from pain to possibility. And it all can just start with, why do I deserve the best? Why am I enough? Why am I good enough? Why can I do this? Why is this possible for me? Why can I add so much value to myself and other people's lives? You know, these type of thoughts make you feel amazing. You know, why am I confident? Why can I do it? You can do it because you're a human being and you have a mind, and the only person who can control your mind is you. And you do that by asking better questions, by looking for thoughts that feel better, and doing everything that you can do to be aware and give yourself the best possible chance for success by preparing and setting yourself up every day so that you feed your mind with beautiful thoughts, beautiful ideas that will inspire you, empower you, and help you move forwards. You are more than enough. You are more than good enough. And I'm just here to remind you that you are. And if you've forgotten, I've given you enough tips on this podcast today for you to move in that direction. Whenever you look in the mirror, just ask yourself, why am I good enough? Why can I do it? Why am I confident? Why am I powerful? Why can I add so much value to this world? Why am I here to do something special? And as you do, you're reprogramming, rewiring your mind, giving your mind an opportunity to filter out what's important for you so that you can move in your own unique way along your path of life. I'm very passionate about this particular subject because this particular subject can change every single human being on this planet, starting with you. I've done it with myself. I continue to do it with myself. It's not just something that I have and that's it. I practice it regularly because as I practice it regularly, I keep that repetition going in my life. And I want to keep improving, keep succeeding, keep learning, keep growing, keep appreciating. And of course, give myself the opportunity where I can uplift and empower not only myself, but others in the process. If you've liked today's show, please like and subscribe. And if you'd like to direct message me, do on Instagram at James Granström, or if you're on YouTube, please write in the description box below any comments you may have. Thanks for listening, and as always, I wish you green lights all the way.